Earlier in the week, the Mountain Valley Conference has proposed a quote-unquote super conference in which they have extended invitations to include 6 of the Mountain Valley Conference teams. They've included Bangor and Phillipsburg to join with 10 of the 12 Lehigh Valley Conference teams, and that would exclude Central Catholic and Bethlehem Catholic. There's many aspects to this story, but Dick, I'll start with you. This seems, at least judging by the quotes in the Express Times and the Morning Call, this seems to be initiated by the Mountain Valley schools. And they want only 4A schools. So my first question to you is, Beck and Central, if they want to play in, do they play up? They normally play 4A teams anyway, and they normally have at least moderate success. And in a couple sports like wrestling and softball and girls basketball, they've dominated the last couple of years. So do they play up, and does that solve the problem? Or the other part of this question was, is that perception by other schools, their success, part of the problem, which is causing them to be excluded, at least from this initiative?
In the format they want to create, they play up, and they're willing to play up, you know, into that 4A category. That in itself, you know, I think answers the question. But I come out of those articles with a question. I'd like to be able to discuss it, but the question is, what is the real reason we're doing it? Do we want a super conference? Because that's pretty easy. Take all the A teams, all the 2A, 3, and 4, right up, you know, and form a conference. Or are they saying we want to get Central and Beck out of the league? You know. Now I have a question on that, Chris, because the move was initiated by Jeff Sola out of Stroudsburg. Yeah. You know, so is there some other action going on that we don't know about, or is Mountain Valley echoing the local people around here and saying, hey, Central and Beck recruit a lot? You know, I don't have that answer. Why this is being done? Is it to create a super conference, or is it to take something out on somebody?
All right, and to that point, too, we have a graphic here, too, because I know the perception is that, okay, Becca and Central are dominating sports right now. Here's a breakdown of most of the team sports, fall, winter, and spring from this current year, along with their ranking in the division, if they have divisional alignments, or with football, and in the case of wrestling, they go by one league. There are no divisions for that sport. They are doing well in a number of sports. They're not dominating all the competition. So is there an unfair advantage? Would you play them up or put them in a different division of this super conference? I think we all agree that Beck and Central should remain with the majority of the Lehigh Valley teams in whatever new league is formed. But Dick, your thoughts on Central Catholic and Bethlehem Catholic and how they match up with the other 4A schools?
Well, when I first read that article, I was amazed how quickly they came out and supported it, almost without having to consult with other people or anything else. You know, it's like, this is Central, this is Beck, and we say we'll play 4A.
Here's a quote, though, that was in the Pocono Record earlier this week on April 14th from Ed Christian, legendary head coach up there from East Stroudsburg South. A little surprising. The comment was, when Allen and Deeriff came into our league, I was disappointed. Delaware Valley and Scranton were class teams, good 4A schools. I wouldn't want to pay anybody less than a 4A due to ramifications. Now, Allen and Deeriff is a 4A school, but they don't have a whole lot of PowerPoints, so a lot of the schools up there would not benefit by having Allen and Deeriff. But Les, your take on that and where Allen goes from here?
Well, you know, they would probably be the most beneficial, or both schools would benefit the most from a super conference if it's going to be based on that level of performance, okay? And I'm certainly not against that. What I'm suggesting, or what I'm dealing with, is what these 4 people, because of our age, can relate to. The Big 4, okay? The Big 5, the Big 6, the Big 8, the East Bend Conference, the Lehigh Valley League. I mean, there's always somebody that's not happy sometime. And the reason why I'm saying is that isn't that part of the germination of this thing? Let's be honest, the Mountain Valley Conference needs people. There isn't anybody on this panel that disagrees with that, okay? And maybe we should be saying, hey, what are you picking on our league for? Or not just, I'm not talking about just the Lehigh Valley, the Colonial or whatever. I mean, but there's always somebody that's not going to be happy no matter what league structure you have, because we've lived through it.
Let me ask Mr. Shriver this question. Peaburg, Joe, you have written off that they're going to be involved in this new conference. No. The New Jersey state playoffs is so screwed up I mean, there's 18 different state champions. It is really ridiculous. Bobby, you are the most familiar with Peaburg. Is there a chance that they would just say, the heck with the New Jersey State playoffs, we're going to take care of our regular season schedule first and take care of that? And then I have a hypothetical question for you, but do you want to answer that, or should I give you the hypothetical?
I can't process two things at once. So.
I'm just happy he's still awake.
Is there any chance? Now, be nice, Joe. Come on, I'm nice. Is there any chance Peaburg takes this?
There's a chance, yes. Do I think that it's a likely chance? No. Because once again, you can't solely focus on football or wrestling.
That's right.
You've got hardball and softball and field hockey and track. And if the NJSIA were to tell Phillipsburg, look, if you leave us in one area, your teams are not eligible for state championships across the board. And there's no way anybody in Phillipsburg is going to say, we can't send our field hockey team to Trenton to get a championship.
Or cross country or track. You know, there's more involved when you're talking about that situation than just football and basketball.
All right, and next, my hypothetical question. Roles are reversed. You're the athletic director at Easton. You want to play Peaburg, and you would have to give up your state playoffs to do it. Would you go and play Peaburg?
Gone. State playoffs. See ya. Gone.
Football, absolutely, they would.
Easton still maintains Thanksgiving Day and has, over the course of the last few years, played 3 games in 8 days in order to keep Thanksgiving Day viable.
Okay.
Easton would continue to do that. Unfortunately, and I have no political worries at this stage of my life, if it were to come to that, I think Easton would tell the state, you go on and do what you want. We're staying here on Thanksgiving. I wouldn't want to be the last guy in Easton to sign the paper to say, yo, we ain't playing Phillipsburg on Thanksgiving.
Well, what is more likely?
Contrary to East Stroudsburg.
Yeah. Well, what is more likely to happen if that kind of a situation happened would be that, let's say the PIAA would make a statement that any team that plays on Thanksgiving cannot play in the state football playoffs.
I believe that's coming, Joe.
That could come.
I believe that's coming.
But that doesn't affect cross country and soccer and all the others. But it could mean that if you're playing on Thanksgiving Day and you don't want to give that up, you can't play in the state playoffs.
All right, let's squeeze in a caller here before the break.